Welcome to the Bruins Benders Podcast, Season 4, Episode 7. The Bruins are broken with Maddie and Smitty, brought to you on the Inside the Rink Podcast Network. InsideTheRink.com is your one-stop shop for all your NHL, AHL, ECHL, and PWHL news, insight, and analysis. In this episode, we will discuss whether or not this roster is capable of more or have we overrated them. Also, could a different coach get more out of this team? And what is Brad Marchand worth to you? Hit subscribe on the Inside the Rinks YouTube channel. All of the subscribers are eligible for the NHL jersey giveaway from Fanatics, jersey of your choice. So subscribe right there on the QR code if you're watching on YouTube. And also go to this QR code to get your concert and event tickets and Bruins tickets right here through Ticketmaster and help support the show. Follow us on X at Bruins Benders. Smitty is at Benders Smitty. I am at Mr. Matty Barry. And the Bruins are going through some things.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, going through some things, sorting things out.
We hope they're sorting things out.
I'm
not sure they are. I feel like they've been trying to sort things out for going on a couple of years now.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. Every combination of lines has now been tried.
Yeah.
As today's practice lines were something out of literally that wheel that at the lottery that they have, like at local lottery, they have that wheel and all the balls are flying all over the place.
Yeah.
I feel like Montgomery picked out Johnny Beecher, David Pastrnak. Yeah, let's throw Pavel Zacha at center again. It's just like, I don't know what it is. It's really like a lottery.
It is. I don't know if there's any particular rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't feel like there is. I think he's grasping.
Not now. No.
Yeah.
No.
I think he's grasping at straws. He doesn't know how to fix the offense, which isn't a great sign. He doesn't know how to fix the team, which isn't a great sign. And he's just trying anything he can think of with the roster he has to try to shake things up and find a spark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there is one. I don't know if he's capable of drawing one out of these guys. I don't know if these guys are capable of producing one. And you end up with, mediocre, uninspired hockey. That's the result of what's been going on here for the first, 10-ish games.
Yeah, I think other teams got better too. So
yeah,
I think that's the other thing. And the Bruins were relying on guys who had career years last year to have them again. And that hasn't started out well at all. Morgan Geekie and Trent Frederick have done not much of anything after having really good seasons, in their eyes last year. So, they're on track to each get maybe 10 points if they're lucky right now. So that's not helpful. Elias Lindholm is not really a number one center. They chased the center position. They got the best guy they thought was available, and certainly the guy that fills the style they like to play, but he's not what they absolutely need, which is a playmaking center, more of an elite center. So they didn't get that. And then Nikita Zadorov was an overpay. I mean, we can all agree that was an overpay for a guy that they certainly need. But I mean, you can get his type of player for significantly cheaper if you just need a tough guy, nasty guy, whatever that is thing, big, strong, third pair kind of guy. You can get that for far cheaper.
Yeah, I think they overpaid. I don't know if left shot defense was really an area of need.
Right.
Honestly.
Sure.
So I feel like they kind of overspent on an area where, you already had Hampus Lindholm and Mason Lowry, and Parker Wotherspoon had a decent year last year. I don't think that was really the need. I think the need was scoring. I think everybody knew the need was scoring. There were some scorers out there that they did not go after. So I think that's a mistake, and that's on the management team and Sweeney.
Mm.
I feel we've talked about it a little bit here before that he's gotten kind of a pass on the roster. I don't know why. He had a bunch of money to spend, and I think he spent it in the wrong places. So you're ending up with a top 9 that's, short a couple of forwards and, a defense that, on paper was made to be the strength of the team, but it hasn't materialized because, Charlie McAvoy's not living up to his contract and being the number 1 guy. He hasn't been a number 1 type defenseman in, since Montgomery's been here, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's had, I guess, the points last year, but he really hasn't been that shutdown defenseman, and the power play quarterback and what you would hoped he would become. He hasn't been that. He has 3 points on the year, and he's a minus player. He's got to be better. So there's areas you thought would be strength that really haven't materialized, and then you trade Allmark from your goaltending position, which was a position of strength, and now Swayman's been good. Korpisalo was really good in the last game, but overall, you got worse there, I would say. And you traded him to a division rival that do have Ottawa does have the forwards, and they're better than you now. So that's a problem. You gave away a goaltender to a team that desperately needed one and had most of the other pieces already in place within the division. You got a $3 million goalie back and a 4th line player. And I mean, a 1st round pick that, may or may not be worth anything down
3
the
or
line.
4 years ago. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's a horrible asset management, in my opinion. So I don't know where you really go from here. I'm kind of at a loss with the team at this point in time. I think the management has kind of failed them. I think the coaching has kind of failed them. And certainly the players have not lived up to the expectations that the fans and people have for the team.
Do you think it's actually a good thing before we go on a rapid review here? Do you think it's actually not a good thing, but do you think it might be advantageous to them to not make the playoffs and be forced, ownership or management or whoever, to make some more drastic moves?
Yes, but at the same time, like, I want a season. I want good play. I want
playoff hockey.
I want playoff hockey. I love playoff hockey. I want to watch my team, and I want them to do well. But they're not going to make changes unless something really bad happens. That's the way that it works around here. Management doesn't get gassed unless you miss playoffs. So, I mean, we've mentioned before over the course of, 3 or 4 years doing this, that it should have been at one point in time, they should have probably already been relieved of their duties. So yeah, I think it's time for them to be gone. I think they've had a long enough run to be able to try to do what they set out to do, and then they haven't really accomplished it. So it's time for someone else new to get a chance. And it really should be entirely new. I don't want holdover guys. I don't want Joe Sacco hanging around the coaching staff again, for crying out loud. Like, gas everybody. Management gone. Coaching staff gone. New everything. Start fresh. Everything new.
If one of the things I saw on X recently, it might have been Ian McLaren from Locked On, who said very rarely does a GM get to change the coach 3 times. So, I'll go through 3 coaches. So that's a good point. Like, usually you have a coach, and then you hire a coach, and you hire a second coach, and then by the 3rd coach, you're like, okay, we're going to go in a different direction with the GM. It's like, you just can't keep firing the coach and not take any of the blame for the shitty roster you're giving him. You know what I mean? So at some point, the GM has to take a little bit of a fall there. So if they do fire Montgomery in the next few weeks here, whatever, then that would be something that's kind of uncommon to have a GM just continue to roll through coaches, especially in 4 years or whatever it is, 3 years. To have a third guy in there is, is kind of uncommon.
Yeah, well, it shows a few things. Number one, maybe it's not the coach if you're on
Right.
one.
Well, right.
Maybe it's management. It also shows maybe you can't pick a coach if you're on your third one. Maybe you're not picking the right guy for the job if you've had to do it 3 times now. So there's some things underlying there that really point the finger at management. And if you're on your third coach, it's time for management to go too. It is.
Right. And I think the mistake was firing Cassidy, listening to the players, revolt, mutiny, firing Cassidy, and then hiring a coach that was, pretty inexperienced and hadn't coached the team, had been a head coach for a while, and giving that responsibility to a guy when you had an absolute wagon that was going to be historically great in the regular season, like you had a wagon of a team who was a Stanley Cup favorite, and to give the responsibility of coach to a guy who isn't that experienced in hindsight is a mistake. That's your shot right there in 22. Like that's the last shot with Bergeron and that whole thing. Like that's the last shot. So to hire a guy like Montgomery now, as you look back, is like probably a mistake, because if they had a more experienced guy, and I don't know who that would be, but I'm just saying, if they had a guy who had won a cup or was experienced, then maybe that's a different story.
Yeah, it probably would have been. I feel like when Montgomery came into the job, I really think he was like overly grateful because they kind of pulled him out of, he was in a tough situation there with Dallas. Then St. Louis gave him the assistant job, and
it was a second chance, really.
Yeah, he was like, it was a second chance, so he was really grateful. I think going into it, he was kind of in awe of the players, to me, which I think as a coach, you can respect them, but I don't think you want to be in awe of them. I think, he coached in the college game, and I think coming from the college game, I feel like you can put your thumb on the players a little bit more. You can demand a little bit more, and they'll listen to you because you can, you have.
Well, you recruited them first, right?
Right. You recruited them. You have control.
Right. Right.
And these guys, I feel like he gave them a little too much leeway, a little too much respect. I think he was in awe of the Bergerons of the world and just kind of let them do their thing, which to a certain extent, I think is good. Like men being men should, you're professionals. You should be able to, police yourselves, take care of yourself. But then on the other hand, when the tough decisions need to be made for those guys or in lieu of those guys, you have to be able to do that. And I don't think he could. I don't think he could separate the two. I don't think he could say, I love you, Patrice. You're not ready to play. I can't put you out there. The team's rolling right now. We just beat Florida, in game, whatever, game 5, game 6. What was it? I don't know.
5.
Yeah. And we're up 3-1. So let's, let's get you ready for the next round.
Right.
And he just didn't have the whatever backbone. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's a, principal guy or whatever, but he didn't have the decision, the nuts to make the right decision there, to stand up to him and say, look, you're not ready to play right now. We can't, we're going well as a team, let's just go ahead and roll with our guys. We'll win this. We'll get into the next round. And then, hopefully you're ready then. Patrice is a competitor. Of course he wants to play. Mm-hmm. Of course he's going to try to get back in the lineup. He's the captain of the team. I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. You have to make a hard decision.
Yep.
and I don't think he could do it.
And he even said the words like, "This team kind of coaches itself." He even said it. And there's a little bit of there's a fine line between being human and showing a real person side to your team. A fine line between that and being a little too self-deprecating. You know what I mean? And I think that he crosses that line a little bit. He hasn't had enough, success and experience as a coach to do that kind of thing. And I think that shows I think he showed some inexperience in different things. Now, I don't think he's 100% to blame because this roster is just
Yeah,
imbalanced and it's not it's not nearly as good, and the makeup of it is askew.
it is. I
But
mean, there's plenty
you
of
know,
blame to go around. There
yeah,
really.
there is. There's plenty of blame going on. But I also don't think he has helped himself or um seems to be in panic mode. I mean, this is as spastic as I can remember any coach being. Like, it's almost, and I tweeted this, I'll tell you, it's almost like making a mockery of the thing. Like, just like, well, it's not working, so we're just gonna do this, and we're gonna put a combination of lines out there that absolutely isn't gonna work, just because I'm so desperate, and this is just so ridiculous. It's almost like he's saying to the management, like, I'm gonna put John Beecher at left wing on the first line because nothing's working and this roster stinks. It's almost like a little bit of a dig to the roster. I don't think it's about the players as much as it is. I just don't think he loved the roster construction from the beginning. And I've said that a million times, and I still don't think he does. I still don't think he likes the makeup of it and how that fits in his system, whatever that is.
I
So
think you're right.
I
I don't
just
think he
don't think he
does,
does.
and I think he's. Here's the thing, though. As a coach, you need to be able to adjust. You need to be able to adjust to your talent, and he certainly hasn't shown the propensity to make adjustments to
Right.
to do anything that's going to put these guys in the best position to win. He
No.
just, whether it's not getting him to be able to play the style he wants him to play, or adjusting the style of his game to fit these guys better.
Right.
It just hasn't happened.
Right. All right, rapid review. 10-24 against the Dallas Stars at home, a 5-2 loss where the Bruins just take a red hot shit right at center ice and lose that one. The Stars are a good team. They come in and they just kind of blitz the Bruins enough to take it out of reach real soon. And that was the first sort of crossroads sort of end of the line game where the fever and the heat really started to press on with Montgomery and more talk about Montgomery and what might happen. And so that was kind of the first real, like, is this going to be the end kind of thing. Um, and looking forward to Toronto on 10-26, it was a big game. And I predicted that if they didn't win, that he could be gone by Monday of that week just because it was going in the wrong direction. And the Bruins probably put maybe their best, I guess, 60-minute. I still don't think it was 60 minutes, but I guess their best full effort of the season, really, against Toronto at home, almost blow the thing. They let Austin Matthews, one of the great players of this generation, go straight to the net with a minute and a half left to tie the game, unguarded, unmarked. And then Brad Marchand, just by the grace of God, scores a goal on a Matthews horrific turnover to win 4-3 in overtime. And that was, we thought, could be, well, wait, Marchand gets off the schneid. He gets a goal and an assist. He's starting to look a little better. Maybe this gets him going. Maybe this gets the team going. They're going to play Philadelphia, maybe the worst team in the league or one of them, at home in 2 days. Like, this may be the start of them kind of getting their traction against Toronto.
Yeah, you would think.
Mm-hmm.
You would think. We dressed up like the Hanson brothers. I mean, everything was going well on Saturday night. Lots brewing, little
Right.
party. little
Yeah.
nightlife.
Maybe I should have been Jeff Lynne because it
Yeah.
just didn't work.
Yeah. So Saturday night it was a nice win, and what you thought maybe would be a galvanizing win for the team, and it just didn't materialize. Then against Philadelphia, a 2-0 shutout, and just a wet fart.
It was. It was.
Philadelphia blocks 31 shots. The Bruins carry the play, but can't solve Sammy Erson. And Philly gets a shutout, and the Bruins get booed off the ice at home. So, winning at home has become a problem for them too.
It has. It has. Yeah, it has. And I think it's probably the pressure.
Yeah.
Of Boston. The fans start to boo, and there's not a lot of toughness or resilience there to get past it. Like it seems to send the team into a tailspin.
Tell you,
especially this core.
We talked about that on the post-game live, how pressure and this team do not go well together.
They don't. I mean, I think in the past they've been somewhat resilient in that they'll lose a couple of games and then rebound. But when it comes to like a game at home that's pressure packed, those don't typically go well, other than Toronto Maple Leafs, which
when it comes
they know they can beat,
right?
But anybody else, Florida, anybody else, it just goes south and something happens and they don't win. And I think it's this core that just doesn't have that in their DNA to be able to fight through that. And I think it's going to take like a beating a team that they shouldn't, or something's going to need to happen for it to change, because right now it's just sort of the same song and dance. I mean, Philadelphia is not good. No. They were basically packing the thing in, especially in the third period, and you still only had 3 shots on net in a game that you have to take that third period over and win the game. I mean, you need wins. You need feel good. You can't lose that game, especially with all the pressure on players and management and coaches and media and everything that's happening. And you come in after what you thought was a big win Saturday and a momentum starter, and then do that thing it's just inexcusable. I don't understand. Like, the players say all these things. We want to win a cup, and all the Pasternak's saying it all the off season. All they want to do is win a cup. Like, all they want to do is this. And then they go out and their actions don't meet their words. And
no,
I mean, this is something I say all the time when I was coaching high school kids. Like, your actions are what speak, not your words. You could tell me everything you want about how much you want to win and how much you want to get better. But if you're dicking around and not getting better, or you're dicking around and not playing that hard, then that's what you're telling me. Instead,
yeah, it's actions, it's body language. It's not what your words are. You can say anything you want to say. I want to be the president of the United States and be a millionaire, but it's not going to happen. Anybody can say whatever they want, but unless you do things to prove that, it's not going to happen. I mean, they say all the right things all the time. It's a team full of very conscientious, nice guys who say the right things. But I think the pressure gets to them. I really do. I think in game 7s or other meaningful games, the pressure gets to them unless they're playing Toronto.
Well, here's a comparison of two teams. The Patriots players get called soft by their coach, and then they respond with a better effort and a win. And respond in some fashion. You might argue how much that response that is, but it was a response. And then the Bruins coach will say their attitude is this, and their confidence is down, and it's about their attitude, and they need to do this and that and this and that multiple times. And the Bruins continue to do the same shit over and over again. What does that tell you? It's like you're a little child and you're telling them, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And they do it over and over and over again. You have to wonder to yourself, either you are brain dead or you're just being defiant. and not doing what I'm telling you to do. Like, it's just, I don't understand why he keeps saying these things and they don't do them.
I wish I knew the answer. I don't know if there is an answer, because it's not like it's just happened under Montgomery. Like, slow starts have been a thing with this group as a whole.
As a whole,
like, as the DNA of these guys, like, that's what they do.
Do you think Sweeney getting rid of Cassidy do you really think it gave grown men like the Bruins players this sort of thought that, well, we have this to fall back on, we can kind of mail it in and we'll get a new coach? Do you think they'd really respond in that way, like that this is a sign of the message just isn't getting there and we're ready for a new coach? You really think that would start a trend of the players not being accountable and just saying, well, they'll replace the coach if we don't like them, we'll play this way?
I don't think so. I honestly think this group tries too hard. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they want to win so badly that they overhype themselves and they grip the sticks too tight, and they want to do everything themselves, and they don't just relax and play. I think they're so over, like, amped, or I gotta do it. I gotta make a play. You can count on me, boys. Like, that whole thing. Like, everybody wants to be the one to do the right thing, that everybody ends up doing the wrong thing because they're not really playing together. Everybody's like, I'll do it. It'll be me. I'll make the great pass. I'll make the great play. Like, it's all within the team. It's like everybody's trying so hard to be a great teammate that they're all kind of being selfish. If you understand what I'm saying, like, everybody wants to be the guy to do it. So that's kind of a selfish thing.
Right.
But they want to do it.
Has good intention.
They want to do, with good intention. They want to do it for the other guys.
Right.
But it's really like they're overdoing it because they want so much to do it for the other guy that they're fucking up trying to overdo it for the other guy when they should just play with the other guy. Like, give and go. Don't hold on to it for 45 minutes. Give and go. Get it back. He'll pass it back to you. Everybody on the team wants to pass anyway. Like, you don't have to hold it for, 3 minutes and try to dangle through 4 guys. Like, pass it to somebody and he'll probably pass it back because no one on the team wants to shoot anyway.
Right. Yeah. They talked about this today. Why do you think Lindholm and Pastrnak doesn't work?
Because they play together for like 5 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think there is something to be said about the preseason and what a bag over the head,
I mean, I
distraction that was.
It was like Providence Bruins training camp.
Yeah.
Let's get Joey Abate ready to
get all those guys ready and then send them all down. Like,
what the absolute fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why is Joey Abate and Trevor Kuntar getting,
Jordan Osterley played all sorts of minutes.
I mean, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I know. Yeah, I think it is Jordan.
Okay.
Why it's
okay? Sorry,
Elias Lindholm. I mean, I know he was banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
But why didn't they play more together in the preseason?
I don't know.
And then in the regular season, you might have some struggles, but leave the line together. Let them work through it.
Yeah, he gave him a hot second.
Doesn't give anybody any time to work through any of the growing pains.
Well, how about this? They win a big game. They win a big game and they win 4-3 or whatever against Toronto. He still didn't play the same lines. He still put Brazeau on the second line. Like, what are you doing? You just won the game. Everybody feels good. Maybe that's the start of something a little bit better. You scored 4 goals. You scored enough to win. What are you changing? What are you doing with the lines? Like, it just doesn't, that there is rhythm in all those things and chemistry to guys on the same line. So changing everything every day just makes it impossible to develop any chemistry. Like, I get it, they sucked or whatever, but to change all the lines again, like after you sucked once, like maybe the next time you start feeling better. Maybe the next time you score 6 goals. Like, you don't know that unless you stay with it. I mean, give it 5, 7 games, give it some time, but there's this knee jerk panic reaction
Yeah, I mean, I
to
think
every little thing, you
that's
know?
what it goes back to. I think it goes
Yeah,
back to what you were saying all along. I think he's nervous. I think he's panicked. He knows that his job's in jeopardy,
it is.
and that if he gives it 5 to 7 games, he might not be here by then.
Right. It boggles my mind that Don
Yeah.
Sweeney would okay, like, him screwing with the lines every single game, or that Joe Sacco or Jay Leach would be like, "Monty, you know, settle down for a hot second." Like, and it's in game too. It's like one shift goes bad and they're like, "Fuck it." Put Brazo on the top line. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's not even game to game. It's shift to
no,
shift.
it's shift to shift. Like, you have a bad shift, you're less likely, unless you're
I
the
think the
top
guy needs to
line.
do some, like, hot yoga or something, like, get
Yeah,
some breathing techniques,
yeah,
fucking relax a little bit.
yeah,
Maybe he needs to smoke a little. Give him some
yeah,
edibles on the bench.
yeah, guys, yeah. Take a couple gummies, you know?
Can we get can we get
Yeah.
some Hey, should we make gummies?
We'll make some Bruins
Do
Benders
one?
gummies.
Can we
Yeah.
do one?
He should read Cheech and Chong's biography or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It's like, settle the fuck
Take a
down.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, dude. Take a
Yeah,
deep breath, right?
right.
And just leave the lines alone.
Yeah,
Just leave
it
'em
just
alone.
seems right now that it's
Take a
it's
deep breath
literally here's a question I have for you. I thought about this in the car today. So
and
you have a
leave
you
'em alone.
have a you have a job,
Yeah,
and let's say your employer is like, let's say it's a contractual job, and your employer is like, "Hey, in June, we're going to talk about it, extending you further, but right now we're just not ready to do that." In your mind, wouldn't you be on Indeed.com like in 3.5 seconds, because you're just not sure? I mean, you have to have a backup plan. Like,
sure. Yeah.
it's like your management doesn't have enough confidence right now
Mhm.
to extend you. So what do I have to do to prove it to you? And I have to protect myself. So I'd be on the job sites like tomorrow to make sure that I may even think of leaving, because I'm not sure. I don't want to be without a job
Yeah.
because you're indecisive. So I don't get the whole lame duck thing. I mean, obviously they are unsure about this guy, and if you were that unsure after you spent all this money, if you were that unsure and changed kind of some of the makeup of the team, why is he still a coach?
It's a very good question.
I don't know. I mean, it's almost like they didn't even really uh collaborate with him about any of the stuff they were doing with Neely said we got to get faster. So what does Sweeney do? He gets bigger and heavier. And they can't play the way Monty likes to play. So it just seems like a complete discombobulation of things right
Yeah,
now
there's
with
a
this team.
disconnect. There 100% is a disconnect between coach and
Everybody's
management.
all over the place.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I think I've always said I think there's a disconnect between Sweeney and Neely. I don't think they have the same
I
vision.
think there's a slightly yes. I agree.
I
I
don't think
think
they have
that's
the same
that
vision for the
Sweeney loves puck movers and Neely loves guys who bang you through the wall.
Yeah, and I think
Like,
Montgomery has a disconnect from them because I think he wants to coach a different style than what they wanna put out there on the ice, and I think the players have a disconnect from Montgomery because 'cause they're like, "Look, I don't think we can play the way you want us to play, and I don't
yeah,
think there's a buy-in." So I think the whole thing is disjointed and disconnected.
yeah,
Like, I don't think anybody trusts anyone else to be able to do things the right
no.
way to have the team be successful.
No, Sweeney milked the shit out of that core to the nth degree that wasn't his core to begin with. He milked that thing, as far as he could go. And now you see the core has much of the core is left, other than really Marchand from the previous core that won the cup.
Mhm.
Like, so really Marchand's left, and here you see the results of Sweeney having his own team now and building the new. He hasn't gotten the next core right,
No,
and it's Pasternak wasn't even his draft pick, so it's
no,
basically McAvoy on. So McAvoy and Swayman, and then it's Carlo. Like that's
I
so
mean,
I mean it's that's what he hasn't been able to build his own core. So he was able to manipulate the core that was there that wasn't his, but he was able to add some pieces here and there and keep him really competitive and get to a couple of get to a cup final and then have a historic season. But when it comes to like an actual core, he hasn't been able to do that.
no.
So, that's going to be his ultimate downfall. Is he and I feel like he knew how hard it was, so that's why he sucked the life out of that last core. Like he kept Krejci and Bergeron and everybody to the end of time. Like he wouldn't trade any core guys. He wouldn't. He kept everybody to the end. He tried to win with that core as much as he could, and now they're gone. And now Struggle City.
Well, I wonder if that's part of the reason that he kept. He fired Cassidy and listened to the players and kept the players. Like the players were revolting. Those are some of those core guys. I don't think anybody was really sad to see Cassidy go. If you hear about it now behind the scenes, what went on behind the scenes.
No one's sad. But you know what? Joonas the Master Show said the same thing about Cassidy.
I know.
And what happened?
I know.
They won the fucking cup.
I know
And
that.
Master Show still respects the hell out of him. So
Yes.
I blame the players for
Sure.
being friggin',
No, but what my point was that Sweeney kept those guys around and gassed Cassidy because he wanted to keep that core intact for as long as humanly possible.
I'm telling you, as long as humanly possible. And he got the guy that he thought would work with this core, this core that couldn't handle anything. So this is what he did. He rode this core that really didn't have in the DNA to do it, to handle the pressure and to do it. So,
I don't think he has it in his DNA either.
I don't. I think that's a valid point. Like, and Jimmy Murphy talked about this in X, today or whatever. He's like, this is like the players at some point have to take some responsibility. Like they had a coach fired, then this coach comes in here is supposed to be completely different, and he was until like the last 3 weeks, like completely different. Now he's barking and screaming and all this other shit at people and calling people out in the media and doing all the shit that Cassidy did. All of it, benching young guys, everything Cassidy did, Montgomery's doing now. And, now he's going to go because they don't want to hear it. Like they don't. So I think it's going to be, if they don't win there's going to be, look, the last time they sucked was 15 and they traded Lucic and Hamilton. So a couple of core guys go if they don't make the playoffs. They do. I mean, and I don't know who it is, but it might be a new GM. And if that's the case, it definitely will be a couple of core guys gone because a new GM will come in here and be like, these guys can't win shit. So we're going to go in another direction. I don't know who it would be, but
so that's my fear with new people coming in is that the Bruins have always been like a, hire from within kind of a place.
Oh,
they don't seem to really want to go out on a limb. So I feel like if it's a new guy, it's going to be a guy who's already here, which really would aggravate the piss out of me.
It's going to be Jay Leach.
Well, yeah, to coach, but I mean, general manager and stuff. It's going to be like the head of scouting or something.
Whoever it is. Yeah. They bring Jeff Gorton back, or
right. It's gonna be a guy who has ties to here, or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, and I want fresh and new.
Who's the Providence
Or
GM?
new.
You know?
No,
That will it be that guy? Like, I don't look, you're right. They've had 4 GMs in 4,000 years.
I know.
You know, they had Sinden, O'Connell, Chiarelli, and Sweeney. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yep.
it.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, Chiarelli was the shortest amount of time, I believe, or around there, or O'Connell and him were similar.
Yeah.
Sinden was there forever, and
Yeah.
now Sweeney's been here 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what they do. I mean, they have, you know, Steve Casper coached here.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, you know, Butch Goring coached here. You know, it's a good old boys thing. You know, the only time, you know, they went outside for Pat Burns. They went outside for Dave Lewis. That was a complete, you know, kick in the dick.
Yep.
You know, so, but other than that, like Chiarelli was from the outside, and lo and behold, he won the cup. You know,
Yeah.
so it's
from the outside.
Brian Claude from the outside, and guess what? You won the cup.
Yeah.
Seven Chirps is sponsored by Lobster Brewing and Lobster Brewing and Tasting Room in downtown Woonsocket, Rhode Island, specializing in small batch ales and lagers. Use the code SPORTS for 10% off your online order at lobsterbrewing.com. It's open 7 days a week. Many thanks to Sean Loppolito for a great post-game live there, pre-game live, post-game live, Halloween party, beer, food, a packed house. It was a wonderful atmosphere, and the Bruins went in overtime. It was like I think the Bruins are 3-0 in our Lops appearances.
I think so. Does that mean we have to go down to Lops all the time?
I think we'll have to do every playoff game there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's 3-0 at Lops, and
yeah. Don't threaten me with a good time because
because I will do it.
I will do it. I will get in there and I'll do it for the fans. I will go down there and drink for the fans.
We're team guys.
It's the kind of person I am.
We can handle the pressure.
Yeah.
Chirp one. The Bruins have a 4-5-1 record on the 2024-25 season. It's the worst 10-game start they've had since 2011-12, the year after they won the Cup, where they began 3-7.
Yeah, not great.
No, last year they were 9-0-1 the first 10.
Yeah, not great. They've had some really good starts, and this is not one of them. It's not San Jose Sharks back-to-back 9-game winless streaks to start a season.
No, that's hard to do. Kudos to them for doing something very difficult.
Yeah. But hey, after the Sharks started off 7-2, they won 2 straight. So
they did.
San Jose. Maybe the Bruins can win 2 straight someday.
Maybe they can come back from 4-1 down on the road. Yeah. Maybe. Trip 2, is this a good roster capable of more? Or have we overrated them?
I don't think they're this bad, but I certainly don't think they're.
I think you rated them perfectly. Before the season started, you were like, this team's not as good as last year. And I was like, well, you know, I think if this goes right and, you know, I think they might be slightly better. No, you had it right. They aren't as good.
So yeah, I don't think they're good. I did still think they would make the playoffs, though.
Right. So, and I still think they will.
I don't anymore.
I don't know why, but I think they will. I think they'll right some of the ship here. I think they will.
Hopefully, you'll be right this time, and I'll be wrong because I mean, I do want them to make the playoffs. I just don't think they will. I think Ottawa's past them.
How about this too? The Bruins have been remarkably healthy this season. There hasn't been a guy who's been hurt. Like, I'm doing game previews for all the other teams in the league.
Yeah.
And there's a who's who of guys all over the injury report.
Oh, yeah.
And the Bruins don't have anybody. So that scares you even more.
Sure.
They're healthy as a horse, and they're 4-5-1.
Yeah, not great.
That can't be good.
No,
that's not good at all, friends.
No, I mean, they lost to Utah, right? Out there.
They lost to Utah out there and 2-1 in overtime.
Yeah. Utah's missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen.
Yeah. Yep. And just Right. Right. And just lost a 4-1 lead at home to San Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah. They haven't been
So,
good at all
I
since
mean,
Boston
the
left.
Kings are missing Doughty. I mean, there's
Yeah.
Connor
Yeah.
McDavid's gonna miss some time.
Line's gone from the Canadians.
Laine. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of injuries going on around the
Yeah.
league. Bruins, so far have been fortunate in that regard, but, still not playing well. If injuries do start to take hold, they could be in real trouble.
Well, that's what I'm kinda getting at is that
Yeah.
if they do get hurt some, which they will, it's inevitable,
Yeah, sure.
then
So,
then this is a healthy full roster at 4-5-1. So that can't make you feel better either.
no.
10 games in, not nary an injury. Chirp 3. Could a different coach get more out of this team?
Yes.
You know what? I'm in that ballpark too. I really believe that a different system, a more conservative, methodical system
Mhm.
would benefit this group.
I think so too. I think they need to take the reins away from some of these guys that they're letting freewheel.
Mhm.
And
Right.
I think defense and goaltending needs to be the foundation on which this team is built, and right now it is not. Right now, they're trying like gangbusters to be the 1980 Soviet team, and they certainly are not that. So
Right.
they need to get back to basics, get back to fundamentals, get back to defense, and that will win them some games. So I do think a coach with a different philosophy and a different system would help that. And I think Montgomery's message, whether it's stale or not, I don't know. He hasn't been around that long, but it doesn't appear that the message is getting through. The starts have been slow consistently. So I feel like if there was a different voice, maybe that helps as well. So I would be open to changing the coach if this slide continues.
Yeah, I think so too. And so Pasternak and Montgomery were talking at practice. Say, what do you think that conversation's about?
I don't know, honestly. Is Montgomery saying, stop trying to do too much, stop turning the puck over inside the blue line, shoot more? You got to give me more offensively. I don't know.
I think it's more of a, what do you see out there? What 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 do you think we should do kind of thing. I think it's more of a just
Help,
kind of knowing Monty
help
and
me coach the team.
yeah, help me figure this
Help
out
me
kind of
help
thing.
you.
Yeah, I just think that with his comments last couple of years about this team coaches itself and all this other stuff, I just don't have a ton of and I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't. But I just don't have a ton of confidence that he can figure some things out. And I think he's having a bitch of a time doing it. And I think he's going to his leadership guys to kind of help him. And that might be something where he lost leadership guys. And this next group of leadership guys just doesn't have that in them. Just isn't as good of a leadership group. And that could be part of it too. Look, I think their roster is not as good. I think that's the first thing, and that falls on the GM.
Mhm.
The second thing is I don't think it's coached well enough to to get the most out of them. That's two. And then three is I think that the coach just kind of has a hard time with adjustments, and now the team is kind of I don't think they're purposely not listening or he's falling on deaf ears and all that stuff. 'Cause I think they like and respect the coach. I just think that they know they just don't seem like a team that looks prepared to play and win. And some
Yeah.
teams, like I'm watching Columbus, is a team that lost Johnny Gaudreau, has had injuries, like crazy injuries too, and it has like 5 or 6 guys on the injured list, and they're playing great hockey with young guys. Like they have a ton of young guys, and
They do.
people thought they would completely stink.
Mhm.
And they have just persevered and played really, really good hockey. But they look like a team who thinks that they can win and thinks that they're, it's probably a little stupid. Like we don't realize how bad we should be. Like we just think we're
Well,
gonna go out and play.
I mean, I think they're probably doing it for Johnny. I think that's
Yeah, I mean, there's an emotional aspect,
there's
but Jesus, they
emo
look pretty. Capitals, they look pretty fucking well coached, and then you look at their roster. And I'm like, this roster doesn't look very good at all. I
Well,
don't think that roster is good at all.
I mean, that's kind of what the problem is, and that's why I think there needs to be a shakeup with the DNA of the group. They say they want to try hard, but if you watch them on the ice, they don't. Like a lot of them don't.
I just don't think they
Like
believe.
Charlie Coyle coasts around. Trent Frederick coasts around. Like you watch instances of them skate, and you're like, okay, that's what we need all the time. Why don't you give that all the time? That's why Cole Koepke stood out so much, and the fourth line stood out so much early in the season, is because they were trying all the time, where the rest of the guys weren't. They were coasting around, half-assing it.
I'm still thinking of that McAvoy comment about the October thing. Like we've learned that we don't win the cup in October. That's kind of a comment that's just like, so are you not really putting in like a max effort in October then? What the heck does that mean?
What it is, and I think they think they're better than they are, and I think
they think they can coast right through and
I think
and pace themselves and then be ready in the playoffs. I got news for you, Charles. You're not going to be there unless you get your ass in gear.
Right. You got to get there first, buddy.
You do.
Yeah. You don't win the cup in October, but you can lose it.
You can lose it.
If you're not in the playoff position by Thanksgiving, you're in deep shit, buddy.
Deep doo-doo.
Deep shit.
Yep.
Sorry, John.
Deep doo-doo. Because you're 4-5-1. You're tied with Montreal, who's bad.
Yeah.
That's where you are right now. Last. Chirp 4, Brad Marchand. What do you want his contract to be like? There was a report that could be 3-year deal in the works. Marchand said no, he would sign it today if it was 3 years.
Sure he would.
I think he wants 3 years. I think they don't.
Yeah.
And what would you like that to look like?
I want his contract to be the Patrice Bergeron contract.
So I want a year at like $2 million incentives.
I want it to be like 1 year, $2 million with incentives. That's what I want.
Okay.
He'll never sign that. That's what I want it to be, though.
Nope.
That's what I want. That's what I need for him to want it to be.
Yeah.
You get my.
So if you're listening out there, Bradley,
I need you to want it to be that, Brad, because we need money to sign players to put around you. And if you go out and ask for 6 or 6.3 or 7 or more, they're screwed.
Fuck.
They're screwed. They don't have the money to spend $7 million on a guy who's
37-ish.
Yeah, he's not a $7 million a year player anymore.
No.
So I need you to be Patrice Bergeron. I need you to suck it up. I need you to take one for the team. You already go down as one of the, top 5-10 Bruins of all time. Like, cement that legacy. Give me a team-friendly deal where they can go out and spend money to bring in guys around you that can play, not these fourth-line Max Joneses, Riley Tufties of the world, and go out and get some actual talent to fill out this roster and make a legitimate push while he's still here to win a cup again.
First of all, I'm surprised he would want to do 3 years. I'm really surprised by that because I think his body's breaking down. I think he's getting older, and I think he's frustrated. And I thought he was starting to see that he wasn't the same player. I really thought that. So I thought that he would do like 1 more year or 2 at the max. So 3 surprises me. I honestly believe that he took the discount before and was one of the most underpaid players out there. He was like the top left wing or second best left wing behind whoever. Like he was like one or two left
Ovechkin.
wing. Ovechkin. It was Ovechkin and then him, really.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. And
So, and he was making 6.6, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, I would not be surprised at all if he's like, you know what? Screw this. Swayman's gonna hold you over a barrel. McAvoy's gonna get 9.5. Parson's getting his 11.5 after he took a discount. I'm not taking a discount. I'm telling you, I think that that Swayman thing, like some of the comments that Marchand made about talking about his contract, and it just seemed like, I don't know. I would not be surprised if he was just like, why am I doing this? If these guys are taking all this money, like my teammates aren't taking discounts to help us, why the fuck am I?
Right.
That's what I would think.
Sure.
Why am I? Why if McAvoy's 9.5 and Pastrnak's 11.5 and friggin' Swayman's 8.25, like, why am I taking $2 million to help out the salary cap and help us get players to win when these other guys aren't? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's
I
why
wouldn't.
I said I don't think I need him to want to do that, but I don't think he will.
I don't think he's doing that. And
No, I
people
don't
seem
think
to think he's taking this. He's like going to help the team. I'm telling you, folks, you're wrong. He's
Yeah.
not going to do that. He's not. They're going to quabble over the years, but I'm telling you right now, I think, and he's a big Crosby guy. Like they are friendly, and he looks up to Crosby, and he took his 8.7 jersey number. I would not be surprised that he wants 3 times 6.3. He wants $20 million over 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that in the least. I think that's probably right around what he wants.
I would not do that with your money. Like, I would not do that. I would not do that. I just would not do that. That's not going to age well. The handwriting's on the wall. So they're stuck in this. Again, we talked about this before about the core and doing what the players want and falling in love with your own players and everything. If they give him anything remotely like that, I will lose my mind. That is stupid. And I'm not nothing against Brad Marchand because he's been a great Bruin and I've loved watching him play. And he's been terrific. He's one of the top 6 or 8 players in the history of the team. But I wouldn't do that. I think I get the whole legacy thing and the whole he's got to retire a Bruin. You got to do right by him to some extent. But I wouldn't do that. That's just insanely stupid.
Well, you get to 3 years, I think you're not doing it. Certainly.
No. Can you imagine he's right now at 36? You imagine him at 39?
The only thing I'll say about it is the cap is going up, and I would rather be on like a year to year, especially if you're going to go that high. But I can't begrudge the guy for wanting that much money. If he bounces back and has a decent year, I would do it for 1 year next year. But I don't know beyond that. That's why I would rather go year to year with it.
I would not. There's no reason for them to sign a deal to sign him to an extension unless it's friendly. There's no reason to do it before like February. There's no reason.
I would agree with that.
Because why the hell is there such a rush to give him any type of contract right now? Unless, again, he signs a ridiculously hometown friendly discount contract. Like, if he doesn't want to do that, why would you do that? Like, wait to see if if his hips will start working again, and if he starts to get back in a groove, and if it's in him to get 60 points, then fine, give him 6.3 for 1 year, fine. But if he's at 20 points in February or 25 points and really laboring,
it has to be, he has to produce. I mean, you can't.
Right. So that's why I don't want to do it next week. Like, why the hell would you do that?
Yeah, no.
No. It's just asinine. I tell you what, this contract, if this extension is anywhere near ludicrous, I'm gonna lose it. I am. That's gonna be such an albatross a year or two from now, and it's nothing against him, but you can't get into the sentimental thing. And they don't owe him shit because he signed the contract. He signed the friendly deal. Like, that was his choice.
Sure.
They don't give me this, they owe him. No, that's how you become a loser franchise, is when you give. Tampa Bay didn't owe Steven Stamkos anything. They didn't owe him shit.
No.
So he goes to Nashville, and what's Nashville now? Like 1-6, and he's a -8. Like, probably a smart move by them. Like, I don't. It's a business, and you don't do that. Whether you're going to just hamstring yourself. Like, and again, it's not about Marchand, the player. I don't have anything against him at all. But Christ, he doesn't look very good.
No, but it's Sweens and Marshy.
Yeah, Sweens and yeah, fuck everybody. Hey,
they're buddies.
I mean, for fuck's sake, it's catching up to them.
That's the thing. It's
catching up to them.
Yeah. You got to run.
I feel like everybody gassed. Like, a guy like Marchand gave his all, couldn't get that second cup. So now it's like, give me my money and let's do the farewell tour. And hey, baby, like, hey, wave to the crowd and hey, just ride off into the sunset. Now I'm going to get my money. Pay me back for giving it a good go. No, that they're going to send you into mediocrity for 10 years if you do shit like that. Don't do that. Like, just don't do that. Chirp 5, how do you fix the power play other than selling everybody off?
I was just going to say new players, so you kind of stop.
I'm telling you what, Lindholm and Lowry, give one or the other, give them a shot on the power play. Charlie McAvoy will not shoot the puck, and he will continue to defer to Marchand and Pastrnak, who are destroying the three guys combined. In their philosophies are destroying the power play. It's one-dimensional. It's stagnant. It's predictable. It's all the shit you can't have.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. I think Lowry should get a chance on power play 1, or Hampus Lindholm. Put somebody back there that'll shoot the puck. They need to stop deferring. I think they need to get through to Marchand and Pastrnak that you can't pass through people on the power play. Like, I know you want to make a seam pass, but there's times for it. And it's when the seam is open, not when the seam has a guy lying on the ground blocking it or a bunch of bodies in front. They just make stupid, shitty decisions, especially on the power play. And I don't get it. Because they're better than that.
Can McAvoy put away this fake shot blind pass fucking thing to Pastrnak? Like, can we stop doing that? Yeah, I mean, you look like an asshole. Stop doing that.
He's trying to freeze the goalie to keep the goalie from sliding over.
You don't shoot, dude.
Well, because that's the thing. Everybody knows that you're passing it there anyway. So the goalie's going to read until you start shooting, the short side away from Pastrnak, to get the goalie to stay home, that everybody in the world knows you're passing it over there. Everybody knows. I know. Everybody knows. If I know and I don't scout the Bruins, I just watch the games. If I know and you know, and everyone in the fan base knows, everybody that listens to this podcast knows, hell, everybody, if you ask someone off the street from Boston that didn't even follow hockey, they would probably know, hey, what's Charlie McAvoy going to do at the top of the umbrella on the power play? Is he going to pass to David Pastrnak, A? Is he going to shoot, B? Is he going to fumble the puck and have it go out of the zone, C? Or pass it to Brad Marchand? Well, it's either A or C or D. It's not B. It's not shot.
No.
It's pass, or fumble.
That's like in the SAT where you eliminate one. Always eliminate one.
Yeah.
Eliminate B.
Eliminate B.
Yeah. It's like high school hockey. I can't take it. I mean, obviously today Montgomery screamed, shoot the fucking puck 2 minutes into practice. So if that tells me they've told them as a collective unit 100 times to the point where now he has to scream it 2 seconds in the practice. Like, why aren't you doing it? Why can't you coach that space, Charlie?
Well,
Shoot the puck.
It's not just him. They have a team, an entire team full of guys who defer. An entire team of them. McAvoy, Marchand, Coyle, Zaka. I don't know about Elias Lindholm yet, but of all of your top 6, you have like one guy who wants it, but possible shoot still pass too. So you have like one guy who will shoot, and then 5 guys who want to pass him the puck. You look at teams around the league, there's like, this guy has 5 shots. This guy has 7 shots. This guy has 4 shots. This guy has 3 shots. We have like 1, 1, 1, 0, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is. It's Pastrnak with like 8.
That's another reason that there needs to be a trade within the top 6 to shake up the DNA of that team. They need another shooter. That was one of the reasons I wanted them to go out and get Gensel. You need another guy to score the fucking puck.
Yes.
Sorry, John.
Yes. Yeah, you do. You know who shoots the puck for them is Hampus Lindholm. Yeah. He has a bunch of shots on goal.
Put him on the power play.
Yeah, put him on the power play. Like, that's last year in the postseason. Kevin Shattenkirk, as limited as he was, would shoot it and could get it through. That's why he played power play minutes. Because he couldn't do anything else.
Part of McAvoy's problem and part of the entire team's problem is they want to fucking dust it off before they shoot.
Yeah,
where Shattenkirk would just get it and he would walk the line a little bit, and then it was a wrist shot through a lane that was open that would get the puck to the net. He wasn't trying to rip one top corns or any of that bar down bullshit. I'm going to get it through to the net with a wrist shot that's accurate. That's all. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
It's not fucking rocket science.
Yeah.
Watch Cale Makar shoot. He has a great shot, but watch what he does. He walks the line and then he shoots and gets it through to the net. And it's not a big windup 90% of the time. It's a little fucking bullshit wrist shot that he can fucking fire. But,
sure.
That's why he's one of the elite defensemen in the league. But, just get it through. It doesn't have to be a 90-mile-per-hour bullet. It needs to be a wrist shot with accuracy. That's all. Same with Pavel Zacha. You have, like, the guy could shoot it 100, 85-mile-per-hour wrist shot, but he can't hit the fucking broadside of a barn with it. Can't hit the net with it. How many shots are you going to take and you're going to miss the net? How many grade A scoring chances has he had this season? He should have like 8 goals.
Grade A.
He should have like 8 goals. Pasta should have like 3 or 4 more goals. He's had breakaways where he's been stopped.
Yeah.
They've had a bunch of guys that have had really good chances and they just can't put them in because they don't have finishers.
No, they have 4 guys with 20 plus shots on goal. 4 on the team. And Pastrnak has 42. And then Marchand has 26. And then they have 2 guys with 21, I think. And then everybody else is under 20 shots on net in 10 games. Like, get more shots on net. You're not scoring. So stop dusting it off. Dust it off. I'll dust it off. All right. So there's trip number 6. Do you trade core players this season, and who goes?
Yes. All of them.
I tell you what, Coyle and Frederick at the top of the list for me.
I would trade anyone off the roster for the right deal.
Anybody is expendable in my mind. Everybody.
Everyone.
There isn't a single guy.
I would trade anybody on the team.
That went from probably 5 guys last year who I would say no to everybody now.
Yeah. I mean,
I had Pastrnak, McAvoy, Marchand, Patra, Lowry, would probably maybe Swayman. I would really I would have a debate about. Now there's no debate. Like, if the deal was right, trade anybody. No one is not expendable.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely fall into that camp. I think if the right deal comes along, you have to be willing to do that. But the problem is, I don't think they have a general manager that's willing to do that.
No. Do you think there's a guy or two that gets traded by the deadline off the roster? Because they kind of have to, because they have no cap space, and they don't even have they don't have a second or fourth round pick in 2025. So it's not like they can throw a second rounder in a deal. Like they don't have much cap space. They have to trade roster players off to get any help. Like,
Trading roster players.
so they're not going to make a deal. Like, how the fuck would you make a deal? Like, if you have no cap space, especially if you sign Tyler Johnson, you're going to have zero cap space.
They'll get it'll be prorated, so they'll have probably have enough for one guy, one minor move,
guy,
like they usually do. One minor
move.
Yeah.
So they're going to get a fourth liner, third liner,
another fourth liner,
because their fourth line is the best in hockey. So they're going to get a fourth liner just in case, a depth fourth liner.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, sweet. I'll tell you what, I would trade Frederick. I would trade Coyle, Frederick. Kiki, you're not going to get anything for. I'd almost waive the guy. I would trade Frederick now and see what you could get for him. See what Coyle and Frederick might get you to a contender.
The Bruins have, what did you say, 5 guys with 20 shots on net. 4. Vegas has 4. Vegas has 5 guys with 10 or more points.
Yeah. That's 4. 42, 26, 21, 21. Yeah. They got Pastrnak has 8 points to lead the team. And 8 for him. 7 for Koepke. 6 is Marchand, Beatrice, Kastelik. 5 for Elias Lindholm. 4 for Mason Lowry. Then everybody has 3 or less after that. That's putrid.
Vegas has 6 guys with 20 or more shots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 8 more guys with 10 or more.
Yeah.
So they have 14 guys. Vegas does with 10 or more shots.
Wow.
And they have 5 guys with 10 or more points. Not even just shots, points.
Bruins have 0.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
0. All right. As negative as this has been, Chirp 7, what has been a bright spot to this point in the season?
Yeah, I threw that because I knew this was going to trend this way. I knew it was going to be a negative show, the whole thing. So I was like, let's throw in a bright spot. It's hard for me to come up with one. I don't know if I off the top of my head, when I was writing the question, I was trying to think of a bright spot, and I couldn't come up with anything. I couldn't.
There's just not a lot of bright spots. I mean, a guy will have a decent game and then not. Yeah, I guess the bright spot is that fourth line. The bright spot. I mean, and it's going away. I mean, they have Koepke's a +10 and +9, +8, and now if they're screwing the lines out, which I said not to do, like, figure out the other 3 lines. It'll work itself out if you just stick with it, or find a match and stick with it, but don't move the fourth line. So now they're going to move all those guys. Kastelik's on the second line today. Beach is on the first line. Koepke's on the third line. I think everybody was off the line today.
Yeah.
Coyle was on the fourth line. So, now
I feel
you got nothing. This is the end of the line right here.
I feel like that line, even in the last couple of games, was starting to show some signs of back to normal.
Because they're fourth liners.
Right, exactly. So that's what I mean. Like, you've up until this point in time, you were relying on them to win games, which is crazy. But you were. Mm-hmm. And we said all along that they can't continue at this pace, and they won't. and now it's starting to show. The effort's still there, and that's great. And hope that they're still not really getting scored upon, but the offense can't sustain that. They've
Nope.
that's not in their that's not who they are as players. So
Right.
I would say yes, the fourth line has been a bright spot, and I'll say Swayman, I think, has been a bright spot as well. I think he's played pretty good after the new contract and so forth. So I'll go fourth line and as a bright spot, and Swayman is the honorable mention.
Hey, let's say if Korpisalo has 8 or 10 starts here that are pretty good.
Yeah.
Don't you try to deal him at the deadline?
Hell yes.
Yeah. I mean, someone who's desperate for a goaltender and he's showing that you fixed him a little bit and he's doing really well, ship him.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. If you can spin that for an asset, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yep. I would. And I'd make an effort to, I think, if that was the case. Well, if our producer Connor Green is still awake, let's listen to this from DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is Boston's hometown sportsbook. It's live right here in Massachusetts. Bet local on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home with DraftKings. To celebrate, all new customers will receive up to $200 in bonus bets when you sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook using code ITR. You can now bet local on money line, spreads, props, and more with one of America's top-rated sportsbooks. That's DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with the code ITR to get up to $200 in bonus bets to use. Now that mobile sports betting is live in Massachusetts, that's code ITR, and it's only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
If your loved one is experiencing problems with gambling, call 800-327-5050 or visit helplinema.org to speak with a trained specialist, free and confidentially 24/7. Must be 21 plus. Physically present in Mass. Eligibility restrictions apply. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as free bets. Terms at DraftKings.com/MA.
All right, the beauty for this week, and there was one. We scrounged one up. That's Joonas Korpisalo.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
Korpi made, was it 17 saves the other night? Whatever it was. And looked pretty good. Actually made 3 sparklers like 2 to 3 minutes into the game. Well, that thing could have gone south a lot sooner. But he does look pretty good. I'll tell you what he did look like. We talked about it, his last effort. He was much better laterally in anticipating the puck. And there was that one save, I don't know if it was Farabee or someone, where he just came all the way across to make a save post to post. There's a brilliant save early on, and he looked like much better. Not like just getting down his knees and sliding around and being slow from post to post. He was anticipating well and getting there, and that was an adjustment. Maybe that's something they worked on, or maybe he just had a better feeling and better sight in that game. But if that's what they've been working on, it's working.
Yeah, he tracked the puck better. I thought he was following it better. Certainly better laterally. Made that sparkler. 17 of 18 saves for a .944. So they did give him, I think it was like 10 days off or 13 days off.
Yeah.
So I feel like they probably, him and goalie Bob probably, went to work, and hopefully that's paying off for him. It seems like it is. And they could certainly use a guy that can give Swayman a break from time to time. We've talked about it before that Swayman hasn't played, the 60, 65 games in a season, hasn't done that. So, you'd like to try to avoid some of that wear and tear on him. And if Korpisalo can be, a solid backup, that's beneficial to everyone.
Without a doubt.
Okay. And so, without a doubt, there were Benders, and we're going to go with the entire core group.
I'm a Bender.
Yeah. I mean, need more from those guys. Plain and simple. I don't know how many different ways there is to say it. Probably a bunch of languages we could say it in. I don't know French, but for our friends up in the province of Quebec, we could probably say that in French. Maybe Google Translate could hook us up.
I took 6 years of Spanish. Get your heado out of your asso. Yeah. That's, what I roll with.
However that works out, that's what they need to do. They need to get their heads out of their collective asses. Assi orum, assi batus. Little Latin there.
Yeah, good. Conjugating Latin.
Yeah. So it's time for the Bruins core group to play better, plain and simple. And I don't know if we need them to try harder, because we've gone over that. I think they try plenty hard enough. I think we need them to play relaxed, play within themselves, and play up to their capabilities. And I think if that happens, we'll see better play from a lot of those guys. And then it all comes down to shooting the puck as well.
Sometimes I think if you don't think the system works, it comes across as looks like lack of effort, but it's almost more of a lack of preparedness and a lack of, we don't really think this works. So we're unsure of it, and we don't buy in, and we don't have a utmost confidence in how we play. And I think that comes across sometimes as lack of effort, or just just that type of thing. But I will say this: they're not winning a ton of battles when they should be, because they're big and strong, and that's kind of what they built this team about. And there's still a lot of battles that aren't won at all. And the goal that they scored, Patra had a puck along the boards. He just flyby thing.
Yeah.
Like just flyby city. Like, you got to put your hip into that guy, put him to the boards, and try to win that puck off the wall.
Yeah.
Instead, it was a flyby. It's not going to work in that league.
No, he was trying to poke it loose and go. And you can't do that.
No, you can do that at Guelph, but not here.
Yeah. So yeah, they need more from the core players. They need more from those guys for sure. 100%.
All right, we had a poll on Monday, and it was, what do you want a Brad Marchand extension to look like? What did we just talked about in the chirps? Give us some contract details in the comments. So it was 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
I voted 1 year.
We voted 1, and I voted 1 as well, because 0 was not an option. 1 year was at 25%. There were 165 votes from Benders fam. 2 years was at 52%, the winner, and 3 years at 23%. So it looks like 2 years is the thing. If I'm the Bruins, I'm fighting hard to go 1 year at a time with them and just say, look, you've had 5 surgeries. You're getting up in age. The production really hasn't been there as much. We believe in you. We love you. We want you to be a Bruin for life. But let's make sure we don't jump the gun and think that lifespan is longer than it might be.
I'm with you.
So there it was. Final results from the poll. The week ahead. Halloween night, Thursday night at Carolina. Tough one. November 2, Saturday, at Philadelphia in a rematch with the Flyers. The next day, back-to-back, Sunday versus Seattle. I think that's a 5:00 start at the Garden.
Is. Yes.
And then 11:05 on Tuesday at Toronto. And you can join us, Bruins Benders post-game live, for all of those. We've had 10 games. We've done 10 post-game lives.
We got a point streak of our own going right now.
We do. We've got a streak going. We are dedicated individuals. We want to just set the trend so that the team becomes dedicated. And if we're all dedicated, then we'll have a pretty good season here. So at Carolina, then at Philly, Seattle at home, and at Toronto. Got to get a couple of those anyway. And see if they can. Seattle just put 8 goals on Montreal, didn't they? Brendan Martor had a hat trick.
Yeah, at the very worst, you got to come out of that 2-2 at the very worst.
Very worst. Yes, very worst. So hopefully that happens. So post-game lives have been going well. Come join us on YouTube, on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Comment in the comment section, and we'll get your comments. We'll talk about them, interact with you, and we'll do that on Thursday night, Halloween night, after the Carolina game. Thanks for listening, everybody, and as always, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.